were talking about these two deals that India recently had with other nations, so that talks about the importance, the significance of bilateral ties with the other parts of world, and how it help us pave new avenues, it help us create new opportunities for us. So that is why these two nations, they are, that is why they are considered as the historical visits, because we are going for greater other part of the world, we are going for the other regions with whom maybe we did had diplomatic relations, but this visit is taken as one such initiative to strengthen that alliances, bilateral ties with these nations, right. And India, with having these agreements with various parts of the world, through these agreements, it will foster economic cooperation, it will emerge as the one who is taking a lead with respect to forming alliances with various parts of the world and providing them a due significance also, right. And further on the lines, we have various other trade pacts and trade deals with various other parts of the world. So the next one I'll take up with India's trade and economic relations with European Union and various other regional groupings. So for the same, first we'll be talking about what exactly is a European Union, because most of the time we talk about European Union, but what does it form? What are the major countries that come under the ambit of this European Union? So there are countries like Austria, Belgium, Bulgaria, Croatia, Cyprus, Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Ireland, Italy, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malta, Netherlands, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Slovak Republic, Slovenia, Spain, Sweden and UK. So these are the countries that come under the ambit of your European Union, right. And when we talk about EFTA, the four major countries that come under the European Free Trade Association, that is your Iceland, Liechtenstein, Norway, Switzerland, and similarly 7 other European countries are your Albania, Bosnia, North Macedonia, Montenegro, Serbia, Turkey and UK. So these are the categorization of your European Union countries that fall under this European Union and the EFTA segmentation. So EU, why it does hold a strategic importance? Because EU is the largest trading partner, right, and which has almost 12.2% of total Indian trade. So it has that much percentage of share in India's total trade. So when we talk about India, is having a strategic alliance with European Union because of the fact, because European Union is the largest trading partner with greater share of volume in goods, with greater share percentage of share when with respect to total Indian trade, and it is the second largest destination for Indian exports. So out of all our exports, 17.5% of the total, after the US and China, various other regions in the world, European Union is the second largest. First one is your US and then comes into picture is European Union. So that is why having alliances with the European Union is very strategic. It is of very crucial relevance. Now India also further on is European Union's 9th largest trading partner, which accounts for 2.2% of the European Union's total trade in goods in 2023, and which is though behind the US, China or UK, but yes, we are still progressing. We are among those top 10 trading partner of EU, right. And this trade in goods between EU and India has almost increased by 90% in the last decade. Now you can understand the significance of these trade agreements between India and various other countries which form the part of your European Union, that in just last one decade we are increasing the trade by almost 90%. That's a sheer jump, that's a major jump with respect to trade in goods between the both of the regions. So further on, there is trade in services between the two has also greatly jumped, right, as being seen over the screens, that there is a greater jump in the trade and services. So these things reflect the very importance of having these trade agreements, these free trade agreements, trade pacts between the nations, how it brings in more of FDIs, it leads to more of trade between the two, promote the growth and economic development of a nation. Further on, the EU share in foreign investment stock in India, it has also jumped up to your this 108.3 billion in 2022, which makes European Union a leading foreign investor in India. So this is the data set that you can correlate with the European Union also, that's well established out there also. So this is very significant, right? So though in European Union is having a greater share of foreign investments in various other parts of the world, but you can see the growth. We are jumping places with respect to us being the the largest among the largest exporter, or bringing in the FDIs from European Union, or European Union having a major share in foreign investment stocks in India. Further on, around 6,000 European companies are there present in India, which will provide jobs to directly 1.7 million people and indirectly to 5 million jobs in a broader range of sectors, right. So that gives us again a bird view about the significance of forming bilateral ties with European Union, right. So when we talk about these ties that we had with respect to us being there in the exporters, us being there having the majority share in the foreign investment stock, or India being the ninth largest trading partner, or the trade in goods and services have jumped in the last one decade with a greater amount. So it has proliferated over the time period. So this indicates the rising significance or the importance of our bilateral ties with the European Union. And furthermore, when we talk about FDI in India that comes from Europe, European Union is still the largest source of FDI for India, wherein around 107.27 billion USD it has flowed in between the period 2000 to 2023 December, right. So this gives you a clear depiction of the investments that being channelized in India over the time period, and the FDI from the EFTA and other countries, other European countries in the same period is being valued at 45.82 billion USD. So this indicates the greater importance, the role of European Union, of us having the stronger alliances with them, because we can see that there is a major inflow, and most of it, when we talk about this FDI inflow, majority of the FDI inflow has taken place in just last one decade. So that very clearly talk about the relevance of having these agreements. So when we say now all these trade agreements, what being the relevance of the same, or why these visits are taking place on very recently there being a jump into the visits the Prime Ministers is making to different parts of the world. So this indicates that this is what is the result of all these visits, of all these greater alliances that we have with various part of the you could say world. So that clearly shows through the database itself that okay, that through these deals, through these pacts, what we are gaining is the rising share of us in the global market, of rising FDI inflow in the Indian market. So, that shows the potential of India, or that establishes India a prominent place in the global market. And it also highlights towards the rising cooperation between India and various other parts of the world with respect to economic cooperation, with respect to your social cooperation, with respect to matters that require urgent attention, specifically talking about terrorism, security, peace. And also does, when we are talking about international trade agreements, we are not just focusing on to your this one segment called investments. We are also focusing on to health, we are focusing on to education, we are focusing on to pharmaceuticals or cultural exchanges, educational partnership. So, there are number of areas where we spread upon when through these deals. Further on, when we talk about India and ASEAN, so ASEAN is what? It is the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. So, this Association of Southeast Asian Nations is comprising of the major nations like Brunei Darussalam, that we recently talked about the the very significance of Brunei Darussalam in our Act East policy of specifically the Asian nations. So, Brunei Darussalam is one part of that Asian, and then we have Cambodia, Indonesia, Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand and Vietnam. That are the part of our Asian nations. And again, there is a very crucial relevance of these Asian relevance. Now, you can see it through your screens that there being a great jump into the number of exports over the time period. And this is the bilateral trade statistics from the period 2016 to 17 to this 2022 to 23, and you can see the major jump in the exports with respect to our ties with Asian nations, and the jump in the you could say the total exports that we are having with the nations, the corresponding imports and the total trade that we are having with the Asian regions. So, that clearly indicate towards our rising, you could say, alliances, bilateral ties with Asian nations, and how it help us growth and proliferate the trade over the time period, right. Now, when we talk about these, let us be talking about Indo or EU relations or India Asian nations. So, through these depictions we reflect that these deals, these trade agreements, they actually culminate into larger shared greater benefits for a nation, and how it boosts our economic cooperation and trade agreements between the two also. So, another deal that happened way back in 2022 and was of significance, utmost significance, is India-Australia Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement. So, on 2nd of April 2022, India and Australia, they went into this India-Australia Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement, and this came into force with effect from your 29th of December 2022, wherein both of the nations signed the agreement to enhance and further the economic cooperation between the two, and to proliferate the trades between the two of the nations. Now, India, Australia, this ECTA, wherein we talk about economic cooperation and trade agreement, it is a very balanced and equitable trade agreement, because this will further the strategic relations between the two of the countries, and obviously significantly will boost and enhance the bilateral trade in goods and services. It will not just enhance the bilateral trade in goods, but will create a new block of employment opportunities, will enhance the standard of living, will promote the general welfare of the people in both of the nations. So, that is why this economic cooperation and trade agreement between the two of the nations is be considered as a very well balanced policy. So, this agreement, if we talk about, will ultimately result into more of employment opportunities, more of economic activities, and there will be significant growth in trade also between the two of the nations, which will further enhance to the next level in the coming times. So, this depiction is being shown here, which will show you the trade that happened with Australia over the time period. So, it is given for the time period 22 to 23, and then you can see it for 24. So, there being imports ka share also, exports also in the total trade that we have with Australia. And through these deals with the Australia, we can simply see into that how these bilateral ties will do what? It will provide more of employment opportunities, will foster the trade ties between two of the nations. So, that is why we talking about multiple deals or various other trade agreements that being recently being signed between the India and various other parts of the world. So, that reflects our economic cooperation and the trade agreements, and our vision and endeavors that the presently structured government is taking towards enhancing the economic, political cooperation between the nations, so that it will further our relations, it will make us ready for the market, it will boost not just our domestic market, but also establish us in the global platform. Moreover, you see that nowadays we are more of focusing on to buying locally and selling globally. That is the what is the government has envisioned upon, that it will promote the Make in India concept, it will promote the vision of producing locally, right, and that means that it will enhance the market for the domestic market, and it will strengthen the small scale sectors, it will strengthen those small handicraft sectors or any other sector per se, for so that the production made by these segments will be sold globally. So, that is why this produce locally and sell globally, this policy of the government is envisioned to take the Indian products to the global markets. And you can see that now we being the among the largest exporters of bulletproof jackets, or we being the largest exporters of a number of goods, be it your organic products, right. So, we are among the among those top exporters of organic food products, and government is taking a lot of initiatives to promote the local artisans or local small scale producers, so that they can get the space onto the international market shelf, right, providing them more of incentives, providing them more of you could say subsidies, benefits, so that they get a very well established platform to serve their products in the international market, with eased out rules for taxation, with eased out policies, with more of digitalization, less of manual filing of the papers. So, nowadays what you witness is that there are digital portals for each and every activity. You need to send this consignment from one part of India to any part of the world. So, now through these dedicated these freight corridors, or through these ICD centers, this logistics have been made very simpler for the people, and this logistics have been being built up in taking into account that more of ease are being provided to those people who are there living in the marginalized sections, or they are being into the far flung areas, so that they can get a point of contact, and they need not to go for more of your manual filing of papers. Rather, there is a digital mechanism for each and every set of activity. You can digitally book a consignment, you can digitally go for clearances, make the payments, receive the payments, you can go for digital clearances, right, permissions, obtaining any permission. So, that being very liberalized over the time period, plus there being a greater role of towards the sustainability also that the government is taking into action is it is forming more of strategic alliances with other parts of the world that is focusing on to sustainability, cleaner energy, climate actions, and recently it did had various pacts with various other nations wherein it is talking about how we can moot and develop into this idea of contributing towards sustainable energies or contributing towards climate action plans or bringing in such initiatives that leads to sustainable development goals and we meeting the same. So, number of efforts being directed towards the same through these deals, through these trade agreements, free trade agreements, bilateral ties, strategic partnerships. So, this is being envisioned as one of those areas wherein the government is trying to connect with more and more regions. It is not limiting itself to some specific regional composition wherein the government wherein the India is aligning with just a limited regions of the world, but rather it is strengthening its existing ties and trying to establish new bilateral ties with those with whom we hardly had just a bilateral ties, but not just these strategic partnerships. So, that is why these two deals have been specifically being taken up, because these are historical ones, these are the ones which shows the India's action towards the Asians or towards the European Union. So, that shows towards the proactive measures and to taken towards how to boost our you could say these joint working groups, joint commissions for enhancing the trade and to come up with a 5-year action plan or to come up with this open free and rule based discussions for Indo-Pacific. So, basically through these pacts, through these agreements, we are envisioning a future wherein when we talk about us becoming a global leader. So, for the same we are taking these steps one by one. These steps will lead to manifold benefits wherein we are securing not just the trade but the security, cooperation, healthcare, education and more of cultural exchanges between us and various parts of the world. And through that we are doing what we are more of integrating us with the other parts of the world. And what we are trying to do is we are bringing our local producers, local manufacturers to the global market, providing them the one-stop solution, right, wherein the government incentives, privileges, your subsidies, rebates are being provided to them, subsidized tax rates are offered to them so that they can establish themselves at the global platform. They can compete with the global powers, and without being exploited and or the FDIs are being considered by the government, and they make a very very stringent or a call to action for the same, taking into account that such actions shall not exploit the local market also, domestic market also. So, that is why the government being very rational about the same of entering into key strategic alliances wherein it is focusing upon protecting the domestic market, but along with boosting the trade and bilateral ties with the other parts of the world. And through that it is forming one such knitted environment or a platform for us wherein the more of your bilateral relations or bilateral ties can be taken up in the future. So, we not just the India-Poland deal, we had various other deals recently that took place that indicate towards the regional integration or the cooperation between the nations. And furthermore, these agreements like your India-Australia, India-European, Indian-Asian, or India with European Union, or India dealing up with Brunei or Poland, it just shows our commitment to provide best of the opportunities, to avail best of the opportunities, and to enhance our cooperation at international forums, to form more of linkages through n number of measures that being taken into action, so that we are able to show the world that yes, we are emerging, and we are emerging at a faster pace. We are there to not just focusing upon some of the regional areas, but our policy is to integrate with each and every part of the world, whether it is East, whether it is European Union, whether it is US, whether it is any part of the world. So we are integrating with them, we are forming new ties with them, we are boosting our international relations, so that this entire efforts are committed towards the enhanced cooperation between the various nation, and through these MOUs or joint trade committees or working groups, or there being comprehensive conventions for dialogues on trade and investment between the nations, we are creating a structure wherein we are enhancing our ties and our enhanced partnerships with the various nations, so as to elevate our bilateral ties. So all these deals, whether India Brunei, India Poland, that happened in Warsaw, and us talking about our deals with UK, US, or various other parts, we are trying to take our products to the global market. As I gave you the example of us being the largest exporter for the bulletproof jackets, or us being the largest exporter of organic food products. So that is only possible because government has opened the avenues for more of greater alliances, or for more of opportunities are provided to the Indian producers, exporters, that they can integrate or they can showcase their products in the global markets. So through these trade pacts, through these free trade agreements, these opportunities are available, these avenues are created for the people, and this will take it to us in a greater manner, and will establish us in the global market. So we will be talking about much more about various other recent pacts that being signed by the government, the highlights of the same, what is the trade benefit to us, the critical analysis of the same in the coming segments. And in case of any concern and queries, you can drop a comment, and you can come up with your suggestions for the same. So thank you, and we will be connecting in the next segment.